So, look guys, we all have that one rank that we're trying to reach every season. And for many players, that ranks around Platinum. But I know some of you guys are interested in making that push into Diamond and beyond. What's up guys, it's Valued, and today we're gonna dive into exactly what's keeping you from escaping the clutches of Platinum and reaching your full potential. And by the end of this video, you'll be fully prepared for the climb to Diamond and beyond. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So, what better place to start than with the biggest issue that I see with so many Platinum players? Over-aggression. Look, if you made it out of the clutches of gold, you likely have some good game knowledge, mechanics, and you're a solid player. If you could take a clean 1v1 or even a squad versus squad, I'm sure you would come out more times than you would lose. But let's face it, that's just not how Apex works. There are so many steps to getting to those positions where you can find those clean fights where one of your squad mates doesn't get insta-downed, or you don't get third-partied, or you don't get insta-downed, or they don't hold you while zone closes, and as you know, the list goes on and on. If you're constantly aggroing every single team you see, or trying to third-party every fight you hear, you are greatly increasing your chances that you're going to run into one of the many situations in the game that I just described that's going to send you back to the lobby. Now, while there is definitely a time and place for being aggressive, many plat players will just run at every single squad and take every single fight. Now, while this can be successful if you avoid all the potential pitfalls that we touched on, the consistency at which you're going to find fights that are actually in your favor are so low if you're just searching for them all game. While you can obviously still come out on top in a bad situation, you should be doing everything you can to set yourself up for success before the fight even starts. But if you're just aggroing towards every indicator you see or hear on the map, then you have no clue what you're walking into and you have zero plan on how to handle it. When you don't have much info on what's happening in a fight or where enemies are positioned, you really don't have any way of knowing if it's a good fight to be taking or not. Sure, you have abilities like Bloodhound Scan to get eyes on people, but if you're in range for an ability like this, you're already a part of the fight, let's be honest. If you can't make a very specific plan because all you know about the fight is that you're hearing it and you really want to get involved, then let's be honest, you probably shouldn't. You've got to remember that you have RP on the line in all of these games. If you want to get to Diamond, you really need to be playing your games in a way that not only gets you KP, but also preserves the RP that you pitch in every single game that you queue up. It's a long climb to Diamond, so you can't afford to be bleeding 36 RP by dying early in a game. You should be coming into every single part of the game with a plan. You should know what legend you're looking to play as you're warming up, with an alternative legend if they get picked by some of your teammates. On top of that, you should be looking for a drop location as soon as you load in. Ping it and make a plan for where you're dropping and how you're going to be playing that drop. You should also be planning your loadout as you're building it, your rotation as you're seeing the ring, and mapping out any enemies you saw while dropping in or here in the distance. This also applies to your literal surroundings. Always making sure you have cover nearby and a plan to use it, you're pathing in the safest way across the map, and so on. Now, obviously, these are just generalizations, but the idea is you want to take in every single shred of information possible and constantly be planning your next move. And speaking of planning your next move, you should make yours a trip over to ProGuides.com for a game-changing coaching session. If you're not finding any success in climbing rank this season or just improving at the game in general, this is the one-stop shop for you to fast-track your improvement. Make sure to check it out in the description below. Alright guys, so this next topic is one of my favorites today because I think a lot of us actually fall prey to it. While we want to do well in our ranked games and often feel like that's all on us with some of the teammates we get, it's important to not try and do too much. At the end of the day, Apex is a squad game. And while you might be able to pull off a 1v3 clutch once in a while, most of the time, if you go and try to make hero plays, you're just gonna get zapped by multiple enemies. Rather than playing super forward and trying to exert a ton of pressure with your presence, always keep yourself in positions where you're gonna stay alive so you can maximize your damage and continue playing around your squad. Using your squad's pressure to help you find advantages is one of the biggest things I think most Platinum players have a tough time learning. Most of you Plat players are pretty nasty when it comes to actually taking a fight, but there's only so far that you're gonna get if you're just taking these fights. Rather than putting yourself in this position, take your fights from a place of safety. Make sure your squad is involved with you, let the fight develop a bit, and then look to make those fight-winning moves. While you do want your fights to end fast to avoid getting third-partied, that third party really doesn't matter if you lose to the first squad. So be patient, play your life, and let the fights come to you. And speaking of letting the fight come to you, it's important to understand just how much RP you can get from never killing anyone. Look, you want to get at least some KP in your games if you want to climb consistently. But those couple KP only turn into big gains if you make it into the late game. And if you're making it to that late game, you're usually going to get a fight or two in the late game that can net you that KP. As I mentioned, the KP will come, but the placement is the hard part. Put a priority on your movement on the map and keep making those plans that I just talked about. If you're in a good ring position, fights will come to you. And when they do, you'll be in a better spot to come out ahead. Think about it. Taking a fight from high ground or catching a team who's late rotating with the zone at their back is always preferable to pushing a POI and taking a random fight with no advantage. By putting yourself in a strong position that has large lines of sight if you want them and cover if you don't, you will be incredibly hard to catch off guard or push. And if you can find these types of spots well positioned within a ring, you will have a lot of teams try to push you. If you're prepared and scouting for enemies before they sneak up on you, these fights are way easier to win. Not only are you tough to push if you choose good positions to hold, you can often get more KP from afar by thirding fights from range. With how powerful the snipers are right now, grabbing a triple take and rotating from high ground to high ground isn't a bad move. Trying to push to diamond is just as much a game knowledge barrier as it is a skill barrier. With this season having a ton of changes and additions to the game, you need to make sure you're still setting yourself up to succeed. When trying to escape platinum, it's important that you have a firm understanding of what the best weapons and legends are and have intimate knowledge of the map. This changes every single season, and if you just grind the same legend every single game and only run the same one or two guns, it's easy to handicap yourself unintentionally. For example, if you're still running the EVA 8 instead of brushing up your PK and Mastiff skills, you aren't doing yourself any favors. With the EVA nerfs, PK buffs, and the Mastiff having a new attachment and buffs, you could be doing a lot more work if you choose the right shotgun. This is a simple example, but this is a consistent theme for every aspect of your gameplay. If you don't have the up-to-date info on the game and you aren't constantly applying it to your legend choices, weapons, and map movements, then you're missing out on a lot of potential in the game. Make sure to take some time to play some pubs, run all the legends, and refamiliarize yourself with every Legends kit. Build loadouts that you don't play very often, and give them some reps. Drop to some spots that you don't normally drop to, and maybe even watch some more videos on the channel and brush up your game knowledge or mechanics. No matter how you do it, making sure you're at the top of your game and using the best tools for the job are essential to actually climbing. The last quick tip that I'll give is going to make the game a lot more enjoyable and make climbing through platinum easier, and that is to find some teammates. Look, solo queue can be rough, as I'm sure you all know if you're watching this video. While you can definitely solo your way all the way to Masters, Platinum is where most players actually hit that wall when they don't have teammates. Having a couple of consistent squad members in voice chat can make your sessions way more enjoyable, you'll do better, and you'll likely learn more. You should always make sure you're in voice chat if you're soloing, and this can be a great way to pick up some people to run with. There are a ton of grinders in the game chat doing their best to grind through solo queue as well. Believe it or not, guys, I've actually found some of my favorite teammates doing this, but we also know there's some stinkers in there too. So now that you're on the grind to diamond and higher, take the time to find some players with similar goals, and I promise it'll pay off a ton over the course of this season and every season to come. Alrighty, guys, platinum rank is something to be proud of, but if you're really looking to continue your climb, use what I talked about today in this video and you'll be to diamond in no time. The biggest part is actually applying the concepts that you learned here today. The end of the season is going to be here before we know it, but I believe you can make a big push and make it to diamond for those sweet rewards and bragging rights to your friends. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments down below where you are in your rank grind. Anyway, as always, it's been your boy Valued, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.